What's up, everyone? Good morning. Once again, welcome. Thank you so very much for hanging out and tuning in with our Sunday morning online Water's Edge worship experience. For those of you that continue to invite people to our live in-person services on Sundays at 9:30 and 11:15, thank you so very much for doing that. Continue to do that. For those of you that continue to like and share these online worship experiences with your circle of influence, thank you so very much for doing that. Continue to do that. Like I tell you every week, we have people showing up and tuning in from all over the place every single week, getting help with their heart and their life and their faith. Also, for those of you that continue to worship with us through a very beautiful and sacred and holy way to worship online, and that's through giving and generosity. Like we tell you every single week, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave. And when we love God and when we love God's mission for the world, when we love God's kingdom and God's church, then we give back so God's church can show their community the love of Jesus Christ and the message of Jesus Christ and the compassion of Jesus Christ. When you worship with us through giving and generosity, that's what you help us do. You help us love more people and help more people and feed more people and reach more people and serve more people and shelter more people and show our community and our city the love of God and the body of Christ and the grace of Jesus Christ. So thank you so very much for doing that. Continue to do that. All right, for so many people, and maybe many of you, when you go through the pain and the experience of loneliness, or the pain and the experience of rejection, that can be very, very devastating to our heart and very devastating to our self-worth. And so many people are battling with that today. And so because of all of that, in this series, we wanted to deal with that in, number one, a spiritual way, but also in a practical way, in a realistic way, in a real life way, and in a way that we can apply to our everyday choices and decisions. And so welcome to week 4 of our current series called Surviving Rejection. And next week we'll finish up this series, and we'll finish it up in a very interesting way. Now, over the past few weeks, we also pointed this out, and I want to show this to you again today because this has really been the main point and the big main idea that this entire series has been based around, and this is what it is. And notice this today. Understand that repeated positive behavior, what is that? That's constantly filling your mind and your heart every single day with worshiping God, meditating on God's plan for your life, seeking Jesus, following Jesus, getting closer to Jesus, have daily single practices of bringing health into your heart, health into your mind, health into your emotions, peace into your heart, peace into your mind, peace into your emotions, and putting that out into the world, putting love and peace out into the world. So understand that repeated positive behavior, not negative behavior, not damaging behavior, but positive behavior, positive, loving community, and that's what we have with our fellow brothers and sisters that we worship with. Your walk with Jesus and your inner resilience can all help you survive rejection. Rejection is so painful, but with our walk with God and our inner resilience and the love of Jesus Christ and a relationship with Jesus, we can start to survive it. But not only that, we can actually overcome it and conquer it. Now, we have to start here, like I've told you over the past few weeks. God created you. God created me. God created everyone else in this world, and He created you and I very special, very different, and very unique. We are His artwork. We are His masterpiece. And we've been talking about how God has created us all very specific with very specific temperaments. And so today, I want to put a name to these temperaments so you can go back and start looking some of them up if you're interested in this to go deeper just a little bit more. But I want to re-explain them and also give a name to them. So some of you listening to this today have temperament number 1. This is my baseline temperament, and this is what we call it. We call it the melancholy. You like to socialize, you like to have social relationships, but you only have sort of a mid-level need for that. You do not like to control other people in your life. When we talk about control, this is what we mean, managing other people. And you don't like other people to control you. When we also talk about control, we talk about the decision making. We don't like to make make decisions for other people. And we also don't like for people to make decisions for us. And also our need for love and affection is just sort of a mid-level need for love and affection, to give it out and receive it. This is the melancholy. Some of you have temperament number 2. We call this the choleric. You're going to see these on the screen, the melancholy and then the choleric, and this would be you. You love a great deal of social and relationship interaction, but you want to initiate it. You express a great amount of management and control over the other people in your life. You like to make the decisions for you and for the other people, but you don't like for people to make decisions for you. You don't want people to manage and control you. You love love and affection, but you only want it in very specific areas. So remember, when we talk about the area of control, we're talking about management and decision making for yourself and other people. Now, one of the keys is this: these temperaments are made up of different needs. Our needs for social interaction, our need for control and decision making, our need for love and affection, and the key is to find our ultimate fulfillment in these needs in Jesus first. If we start to try to fulfill these temperament needs and other things besides Jesus, then we start going down the wrong pathway. Temperament number 3, this is some of you. We call this, and notice this, the sanguine. And this would be you. You love social interaction, but you want other people to invite you. You want other people to initiate it. And you have this need to manage other people. And you don't mind other people managing you, but only when you feel dependent. And that is very temporary. You don't feel dependent all the time. And you like love and affection, but certain parts of your life are very private. And so your need for love and affection to receive it and give it out is very selective. Temperament number 4, this is what we call it. And notice this, the supine. Now this temperament is a lot like the sanguine. This is called the supine. And this is what it is. You don't really have a need for a lot of social and relationship interaction, but you love for other people to initiate it anyway. It's like I told you a couple of weeks ago. This is the person who wants to be invited to everything, but they're not going to show up to anything, but they're going to be offended if you don't invite them to everything. You really don't want to manage or control other people, but you do want people around you who can take control and make decisions, even over your life if necessary, because that makes you feel safer. So, you don't want to make decisions for other people. But sometimes you don't want to make decisions for yourself either, and so you like people around you who can take control. It makes you feel safer. I find that very interesting. And also, you show very little love and affection, very little, but you respond to a lot of it, and you want to receive a lot of it. So you don't give a lot of it out, but you want to receive a lot of it. Temperament number 5, this is what we call, and notice this, the phlegmatic. If this is you, you're a lot like the melancholy. You have a very mid-level need to have social relationships and interaction. You can initiate it, or other people can. You have this mid-level need to make decisions for your life and for other people's life. And then you have a mid-level need for love and affection. But these people are very focused. These people are very goal-oriented. These people normally become like the CEOs. Now, in the 3 areas that make up our temperaments, our need for social life and relationships, our need for management and control and decision making, and our need for love and affection, all of us have a baseline temperament, but in these 3 different areas, we can be a mixture of temperaments. For instance, let's say that you're a baseline sanguine, but in the area of control, you may be a sanguine / melancholy. And in the area of love and affection, you may be a sanguine / phlegmatic. So you can be a mixture of these temperaments. And so you get the picture. But the key is to figure out your specific temperaments in these areas so we can do a couple of things. And this is the 2 things that we really want to do. Number 1, it helps us understand our strengths and our weaknesses. When we start to understand our temperaments, or our mixture of temperaments, then we start to understand our strengths and our weaknesses, and that helps us learn how to love other people in this world properly and in a Christ-like way. And then number 2, it helps us discover our purpose. God made you unique. You're the workmanship of God. You're His artwork. You're His masterpiece. God gave you a very specific heart, a very specific temperament. You developed a very specific character, and God can use you in a very specific way in His kingdom. Remember, His thoughts about you are precious. So we have to make sure that these needs for social and relationship interaction, these needs for decision making and control, and these needs for love and affection, we have to make sure that we surrender our temperaments to God first so He can meet those needs first. If we don't let God meet the needs of our temperaments first, we're going to try to meet those needs in other areas, and it's always going to lead us down the road of regret and guilt. So the key is, I surrender my needs for social relationships to Jesus first. I surrender my need for control to Jesus, and I let Jesus control my life. And I surrender my need for love and affection to Jesus, and I let Jesus be the lover of my soul first. Notice this today, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Now may the God of peace make you holy in every way, and may your whole spirit and soul and body be kept blameless until our Lord Jesus Christ comes again. Now right here, notice that the missionary is talking to the disciples in Thessalonica, and this is what he teaches us, that our God is the God of peace, which implies that when you follow God, that you become a person of peace. Our God's the God of peace. If we say that we love Jesus and follow Jesus, then we need to be people of peace. And that also implies this, that holiness begins with this, becoming a person of peace. If you really want to be holy, step number one is having peace with God, but also becoming a person and a source of peace in this world. He then goes on to say that God will make our spirit, our soul, and our body more mature through Jesus. In other words, more healthy, more stable, and more Christ-like. But understand this today. Notice this, that we are made up of body, soul, and spirit. We are made up of spirit, soul, and body. Let's take it a step further. And notice this today. Notice what Jesus says. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Matthew 22:37. Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your mind." Body, soul, spirit, heart, soul, and mind. Body, soul, and spirit. Heart, soul, and mind. Again, we are made up of these things, and we love God with our heart, our soul, and our mind. Let's take it a step further. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Remember this today, and notice this. The heart is found within the spirit and the soul, and is the linking device between them both. When the Bible talks about loving God with our heart, it's not talking about our literal organ that beats blood through our veins. It's talking about that part of you that makes you you. The heart is found within our spirit and our soul, and our heart links our spirit and our soul together. Next is this, and notice this. Jesus teaches us that inside of us, there is a close relationship between spirit, soul, and heart. Next slide is this, and notice this today. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. I find this very interesting. The soul includes the intellect, the will, and the emotions. And it's in our intellect, our will, and our emotions that we find our specific temperament. And so how do we bring peace to our life? How do we grow our character and our temperament and our personality into something that's stronger, more healthy, more stable, and more Christ-like? Well, this is how. If you're ready for it, say I'm ready. You become a radical lover and worshiper of Jesus Christ. You become a radical lover and worshiper and follower of Jesus Christ. We purpose in our heart to love God with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our mind, and we love other people with the love of Jesus. Check this verse out. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24. There are friends who destroy each other, but real friends stick closer than a brother. Some people are going to reject us. This world is going to try to destroy us. Relationships can deeply devastate us on the inside. This world can devastate us on the inside. But there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and his name is Jesus Christ. What do you do when you're facing storms that devastate you? You live as a worshiper. You love God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your mind, and you follow Jesus with your life. Why? Because life can be devastating, but in Jesus we have a friend that sticks closer than a brother. What do you do when you feel confused and lonely and you feel the pain of loneliness and the pain of rejection? This is what you do. You live as a worshiper, a radical worshiper, and you love Jesus with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your mind, and you follow God with your life. Why? Because life can be devastating, but in Jesus we have a friend that sticks closer than a brother. What do you do when your battles make you question everything about yourself and about your self-worth and about your self-value? This is what you do. You live as a worshiper of Jesus Christ. You love God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind. You follow Jesus with your life. Why? Because life can be devastating, but in Jesus we have a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And what do you do when you're finally standing back up again because this world has been so chaotic for you, and this life has been so chaotic for you, and storms have been so chaotic for you, but you're finally starting to find your strength in Jesus Christ again? This is what you do as you're standing back up again. You live as a worshiper, a radical lover of Jesus Christ, and you love God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your mind, and you follow Jesus with your life. You follow Jesus with your temperaments and surrender that to Him. You follow Jesus with your character and your personality, and you surrender that to Him with all of your life. Why? Because life can be devastating, but in Jesus we have a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us today. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Now continue to stay tuned in for an amazing time of worship with the amazing Water's Edge worship team. We cannot wait to see you back next week, and we love you all.